In today's You Ask, I Answer, Genevieve asks, do you think virtual and augmented reality have a future as a viable content marketing tools? Yes, without a doubt. Here's how we know. With any new technology, these new technologies go through evolutions, they go through phases. And this is not new, this model, for anything. This is centuries old. It comes from the Japanese martial arts. There's the thing, the basics, right? And then there is the form, where you replicate the form and you adhere strictly to the form. And then there's variation, where you learn to modify the form for different situations and stuff. And then there is the Japanese call it randori, or catching chaos, where it's completely free of form, and you just apply your knowledge all these different ways. Well, the same thing applies to technologies. So, virtual reality and AR and the web and social media and you name it have all been through these phases. In the beginning, nobody understands what these things do, so they have to learn the very basics just to even be fluent at it. And this is where a lot of things just kind of die. If no one can master the basics, then the technology does not move forward. The basics includes value. If no one can see any kind of value, then the technology just dies. Once people understand the technology, what they typically do is replicate the existing things in the new format. Think about the early days of the World Wide Web. What did people do? They made brochures, right? They literally copied and pasted sometimes their existing sales brochures onto their websites. You can still find a few websites like that out on the web. Over time, people started doing variations. What if we didn't have to make it look exactly like the brochure? What if we put in more pictures and fewer words? What if we put in contact forms or discussion forms? And the web evolved. It became all these different variations and stuff. And then after those variations came freedom, when people broke free of the limits of their imagination, of their previous technology's restrictions, and started creating things that can only exist in that new format. Social networks, for example, are something that cannot exist in the old format. There's no way to make a print-based social network. Right? Your newspaper, when you pick it up, is not interactive in any way. And so once people understood that the web was interactive, that the web permitted two-way communication, video communication, and things like that. Take a look at what people do with video marketing now. Today, we take it for granted. Oh yeah, video, everyone does that. Well, not everyone did that. It was very difficult for people to understand that you could put video on the web, and then there was a perception that it had to always be high quality. Well, obviously we know after replication of the old format like television comes variation, and then variation comes freedom. It's the smartphone, these lovely devices that we're working with here, gives people the freedom to do new things that they couldn't do with a massive TV crew. Same for drones, right? Drones permit photography that previously was only allowed with something like a helicopter or an airplane. Now we have drones that can do these things, and we're still with drones. We're kind of in stage 3, right? We're trying out new things, drone racing and stuff like that, and photography and video that are different, but we haven't come really to that freedom point yet. We're getting there. Virtual reality to augmented reality are at, I would say, late stage 2, early stage 3. We have a lot of skeuomorphism, which is good, because that replication phase, that copying the old into the new, is how we learn the technology. It's not something we can skip over. So we are at a point where we're replicating a lot of things in virtual reality that we have in augmented reality. Amusement park rides and movies and action things and video games. And we're getting the hang of this new technology. Where content marketing becomes viable and exciting is when you at sort of the late stage 2, where you can flawlessly replicate an experience enough so that it's better than the previous technology's experience, and start creating those variations, those new things like, oh wow, I didn't know you could do that. That's when you have that content marketing viability. Sometimes these tools, they take off very, very quickly. Sometimes they take a really long time. With virtual reality and augmented reality, the key to that technology succeeding, but in marketing or in general, is the headset, is the end user experience. Once that is largely solved and is as easy as opening a web browser or opening an app on your smartphone today, then the technology will have the base and the freedom to really create those new experiences. And then the marketers will come in and ruin it, as we always do. So, yes, content marketing and virtual reality, augmented reality have a rich potential future ahead of them. We've got to get out of the replication phase into the variation phase, and we're starting to. I'd say we're right on that cusp, and then the audience adoption is the kind of the last piece of that, and that will open up virtual reality and augmented reality as a useful content marketing tool for all of us. Great question, Genevieve. Good way to start the week with sort of a more forward-thinking question. As always, please subscribe to the newsletter and the YouTube channel in the comments below, and thank you for watching.